Hi friends, this is Shekhar Srinivasan, Managing Director, LS Solutions Private Limited, a .NET trainer and an architect. This is the third part of the Bootstrap free video series. In this video, I am going to explain how to use Bootstrap navigation bar, where how to place the drop downs on the navigation bar, and how to use the form elements within the navigation bar, and also we will try to understand how to fix the navigation bars on the top as well as on the bottom. Let's start the demo.
Now let me try to add a master page. And within the master page, let me try to provide the styles which are required for applying the Bootstrap navbar, so that the same styles can be used within all the content pages. Now let me just try to place the style sheet within this head bar, and then in order to use the drop downs for the navigation bar to work in a proper manner, we need to depend upon the JavaScript or the jQuery of the Bootstrap. And hence, from the scripts, what I do is, first I try to place the jQuery file, and below that I try to place the bootstrap.min.js. So in order to use the Bootstrap navigation bar, on the head I try to use the styles, and the scripts I try to provide at the bottom. Now let's try to prepare the content. So to start with this, in the body I start with a header where I would like to provide a class saying that Navbar. Navbar is to specify that we wanted to use a navigation bar. I just try to take the support of the default navigation bar, and the navigation bar I wanted to keep it onto the top. Now within this I would like to take a container so that we can place the content. I take one more div to specify the collapse of this, so that whenever the user is going to use in other small devices, the navigation bar works in a proper manner. Now my first requirement is, like, when we try to prepare the navigation bar, always it is advisable to design from the right side to the left side, especially when you use some kind of form elements that has to be placed on the navigation bar. So I would like to place a form element towards the rightmost corner. So I give some ID form class equal to navbar form. So I'm just trying to specify that this is going to be a navigation form, and I want this form to be placed towards the right side. And in order to place a content towards the right side, I just have to use a class called as pull drag. Now Once we have this particular thing, I would like to place some elements within this. So I simply say div class input group. Once I specify this, now we are going to say that I wanted to have a set of inputs elements on the navigation bar. For example, I specify input type equal to search. I give a title, for example, enter search, so that it acts like a tooltip. I put a placeholder so that you get a watermark message. Enter search, and this is going to be a form control. Quite simple thing. And beside this particular form control, my requirement is I just wanted to have a search button. So I say span class input group add-on, and instead of providing some kind of button and all, I just wanted to use some kind of GIF icon. So I just simply say GIF icon search. So this is going to place a search option attaching to the input element. Okay, now let us try to have a content page for this thing, so that we can understand exactly what is happening now. I just have a web form. Oops, sorry. I select a web form. I just specify some content page. I select the master page. I say add, and I say OK. Just for the display purpose, I'm just trying to write it, nothing more than this. I try to make this particular page as a startup page. Now if you just try to observe this thing, we can see that I got a navigation bar and the search has been placed with a small icon, and this information is being placed towards the right side. Now beside this particular thing, my requirement is I wanted to put a list of options towards this thing. So to do this, let me once again go to my master page. Once we have done with the form, now I would like to have an unordered list. So what I try to do is unordered list. This is going to be a navigation Navbar, which I am going to use for the navigation, and even this content I wanted to put it towards the right side. Then I wanted to have a set of list items, for example li, and I just simply say, for example, home, and I wanted to say that this is going to be the one which is going to be active. In this way, I may have some list of options, something like services, For example, about us, contact us. Now once I refresh it, you can see that I got something like home, services, about us and contact us has been provided for us. Now my requirement is under this particular home and services, I wanted to keep this particular services as a drop down so that when the user clicks on the services, I get a drop down. In order to convert a list item as a drop down, what I try to do was, for the services list item, I try to specify a class with the name called as DropDown. And once I specified the class with the DropDown, then for this particular service hyperlink, I try to add a set of classes where I say DropDown toggle and data dash toggle equal to I bind with the DropDown class. Now once I just observe this thing, let me refresh it. I don't find much differences here now. Now once I have this particular services, then what I try to do was, for this particular services I wanted to have some list of items, so I try to take an unordered list, and this unordered list is going to be the drop down menu items. So I just try to place the drop down menu, then I keep a list item. For example, let me add some information. For example, training, online training, website development, and e-commerce sites. Assume that these are the list of items which I just wanted to have. Now let me refresh it once again. I can see that when the user clicks on this, now I am able to get a drop down. But until or unless I click on it, I cannot understand that this is a drop down. Since I created, I know that when I clicking on it, you're going to get a drop down. So I just wanted to inform the user with a visual representation that the services is going to have some drop down. In order to do that, what I try to do is, for this particular services, I try to take a class with the name called as carrot. Now once again, let me refresh the page to see the output. Now you can see that below, beside the services, you have a caret symbol that is available, which informs the end user that there may be some kind of menu that is present. Now once we are clear with this thing, finally what I try to do here is, whenever I just wanted to have it, so we have a search option that has been provided, we have the navigation bar items, and along with this particular navigation bar items, I wanted to provide the brand for this thing. The brand is going to be the company website name or the website name itself. Now, in order to provide that particular brand, what I try to do was I try to take a hyperlink, for example learntoday.net, and I just specify this, and I want to inform that this is going to be the brand for the navigation bar. So I simply specify Navbar brand. Now once again, let me just check out here. Now you can just try to observe it. We got something called it as Learn Today, Way to Success. This is the brand that is available. Now when you try to prepare a navigation bar for the file, concentrate from the right side to the left side. For example, in case if I have done in a other way, say the form element, I try to keep it below the list of items. For example, now if I try to refresh this thing and check out, you can just observe it. The search option is coming towards the left side of this. So we have to understand this and design it accordingly. Let me refresh it once again. Done. Now once we prepared this particular navigation bar, let's say that I would like to have a footer also, and whenever we wanted to have a footer, let me just try to do this. After the content placeholder is done, I just wanted to place the footer. So I just try to keep something like footer, and for this particular footer I just wanted to specify that this is going to be the footer for the navigation bar. I just wanted to have this particular navigation bar, fix it towards the bottom, and within this let me have a paragraph, copyright ampersand copy semicolon 2013. Let me refresh it once again. Now you can see that we got this particular navigation bar with a slightly grayed one. In case if I wanted to reverse this particular thing, then what I can do is we can just try to reverse this by specifying navbar inverse. Now if I just try to refresh it, you can see that this has been reversed. And for the visibility purpose, what I try to do was, for this let me directly apply a style, color I keep it as white, and I would like to keep this class where the text I wanted to put it towards the right side or the center. I refresh the page. Now we can see that I got something like copyright, which is coming to the center of this screen. Now once we done with this, now say that if I have some huge content on the content page. Now once we done with this particular thing, say that I wanted to have some huge content on the content page. To do that, what I try to do was div class, for example container, div, I say a class called as row. So this is the first row which I just wanted to have it, in which I would say that I would like to have a block code, some text. Now let me just try to refresh this thing. So we can see that I got some information available. Now let me just try to have some huge data so that we can understand the other things. So I take a row. Within this row, assume that I would like to have a columns of 4 into some 3. Some set of div tags I just added so that this is going to be occupying my content. Now once we have this particular options that are available for us, this is the information I have. Now let me just try to occupy more, just to have a scroll thing. Div class row, and I have the page. So let me just try to have a refresh of this. Now we have a scroll bar. Now if I just try to observe it, I see that even the header is going to scroll, but the bottom has been fixed. Now in case if you wanted to see to that the header is also going to be fixed for us, then what I have to do is, within my master page, when I prepare this particular navigation bar, instead of static, we can just try to use fixed top. Now once I apply the fixed top, and if I try to now use it, you can see that the content is getting scrolled, but I observe that there is one problem here. The problem is the content of the block code is behind the particular navigation bar. As the navigation bar is fixed, the content will be going behind the navigation bar. The default height of the navigation bar is going to be 50 pixels. So you have to see to that using some kind of padding methods or margin settings so that the content will not go behind the navigation bar. In order to do that, what we try to do is, when we try to provide the content for the content placeholder, we have to see to that the div is going to be a container where you can just apply some style, where I can simply give, either you can use padding options or the margin settings. The default height of the navigation bar will be 50 pixels. So what we can do is, you can provide something above 50, for example 60 pixels I try to provide. Now if I try to refresh this particular page and now check out, I can observe it, this content is coming now, and when I try to scroll it, the header has been fixed. Now once we have this particular things has been done, in case if I wanted to invert the header also, what I can do is, for this particular navigation bar, the default one is going to give always a gradient fill. So I can simply specify inverse. And now if I try to observe this thing, you can just observe it, the header has been changed with the inverse, and when I try to hover it, we get this details, and when the user clicks on this navigation, we have. And Bootstrap provides you a very efficient methodology of theming. In case if you are not interested with the default themes which are provided by the Bootstrap, what you can do is you can just try to go for a website called as Bootstrap, and you will be provided with a set of themes. So it's your wish which theme you wanted to use it. These are the different themes that are available. The theme which you like with the Bootstrap, you can select this particular thing and you can just click on download and you can select the min file. Just copy all the things that are there within this, and then what we can do is we can just open our Bootstrap min.cs and just replace this particular thing with this file. Now once again I try to refresh it, and then let me come back and see to this thing. I find a whole lot of difference, and whenever the user is going to hover, the content displays in this way. Hope you have had a clear idea on how to use a Bootstrap navigation bar, how to make the navigation bar fix it to the top as well as bottom, how to place the search for the Bootstrap navigation, and also how to add drop down for the navigation. Since the video is going to be larger, the third part of this video for the Bootstrap navigation I am splitting into two parts. In the second part of the navigation, I will try to explain how to use the nav for providing the tab pages, how to use the nav for the pills, and also I will be explaining the additional functionalities what a navigation bar can be done with the support of Bootstrap. If you like this video, please try to put a comment to my scrolling Facebook, or you can also subscribe my YouTube channel for other videos of mine. Thank you.